The agenda of today's video is to talk about 3 time-saving tips for your MS application process. But before that, let me introduce myself. I am Sohan Joshi, currently a first semester graduate student at NYU pursuing management of technology. The series that I'm running on my YouTube channel is to basically document the lessons and my experiences that I've learned from my MS application process. So far, I've created 5 videos talking about statement of purpose, personal statement, letters of recommendation, application timeline, my first 70 days at NYU. And this is the sixth video in which I'm going to talk about time saving tips for your MS application process. But before watching this video, I recommend you watching those first because I'll be referencing those videos in this one. The agenda of this MS application series is pretty simple, is to keep these videos structured in a very fundamental way, talking about my learnings and experiences and mistakes and the things that I could have done better so that they're still relevant to all the MS applications, applicants, irrespective of the intake that they are a part of, like fall 2025, 26, 27, whatever that is. Coming back to this video about time saving tips for your MS application process, the first tip that I have is to be really aware of the things that you are working on. I'm assuming that you are a final year undergraduate student or you are working at a firm and then you are taking out time to work on your MS applications after fulfilling all of these commitments. During this, you don't want to make sure that you want to make sure actually that you're working on the right things. And how do you make sure that you're working on the right things is to basically create access to your university applications. What do I mean by access is to log into the portal of your MS application, go through all the slides of the application and actually understand what is the university application needing you to do in terms of different documents like statement of purpose, personal statement. Do they need you to convert a CGPA to GPA? Do they need any other optional essays? Do they need any scholarship essays? All of these components you need to basically understand. Why? Because if you end up working on a generic statement of purpose, or if you end up working on a generic personal statement, and sooner or later you realize that, okay, this university needed you to do it the other way, you are basically going to create another statement of purpose, meaning that you are creating one output, but you are giving too much of time or 2 units of input in terms of time to this, which you might want to totally avoid. So being aware and avoiding that whole double work situation is the way you can save your time, which was my tip number one. Second tip that I have for you is to basically plan out your MS application process. Planning basically comes in two different phases. The first part of your planning involves you to distribute your universities that you're applying to according to the timeline and basically which is based on the deadline. Like for example, I applied to 7 universities. I split the entire application process in 2 plus 3 plus 2 universities depending on whenever their deadlines were. I think 1st of December, mid of Jan, end of Jan, something like that. So that I saved my time to not focus on all the universities all at once, but distributing my focus across different timelines so that I could work on these applications effectively instead of cramming everything all at once and ending up wasting time in deciding when to do, what to do, and how to do, and all of that stuff, and wasting time in panicking and all of that stuff. So this is first part of your planning, which basically involves splitting your MS application into different universities on the basis of the deadlines. Second component of your planning basically is something that I've talked about in the previous video, is to create outlines of all the documents that you are basically going to apply to submit for these MS applications. Like for example, creating a skeleton for your statement of purpose, creating a skeleton for your personal statement. Why? Because you don't want to end up in a situation where you are working on new statement of purpose for every single university on the basis of different prompts. What you are basically doing is you are creating a draft or an outline on the basis of the common threads across all the prompts and then modifying it according to different universities across different documents like statement of purpose, personal statement, optional essays, whatever that is. The third technique to save your time and just be efficient in our MS application process is to implement the technique of batching. Batching is a productivity technique which helps you be efficient through the processes that you are a part of by basically grouping similar tasks together rather than doing them discretely. In this case, or the context of the MS application process, instead of appending recommenders to all the applications at different points whenever you are submitting them, what you could rather do is to pick up a weekend and append all the recommenders to all the applications at once so that even they can work on all the recommendations all at once and submit them all at once instead of doing this discreetly after every application, which basically saves your time and energy. Similarly, every application involves you to fill personal information to their portals. instead of filling in personal information across different applications at different timelines, what you can do is just pick up a weekend when you are lazy, fill in all the personal information all at once so that you can then focus on other things of the application which are actually important. So this technique of batching, wherein you are, instead of doing the similar tasks discretely across different timelines, what you are doing is you are making sure that you are doing them all at once, which essentially ends up saving some time and mainly your mental energy through this whole process. So, I mean, this was pretty much it for the MS application process, time saving tips. These were the three tips that I had. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.